to Ekiti State, where we continue to cover preparations for the election tomorrow. Let's bring in the convener, Women's Situation Room, Joy Onyesoh. She joins us from Ekiti State. Good to have you join us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I think it was yesterday you raised an alarm or a concern about something. I think it was you mentioned issues around violence. You talked about physical violence. You talked about, I think it was monetary and sexual violence. You mentioned towards this election. Talk to us more about that and what exactly you meant.
Okay, thanks very much. Usually towards the elections, we do some rapid assessments of the state of violence in a state. And we've conducted 2 rapid assessments in Ekiti State ahead of the gubernatorial elections happening on Saturday, tomorrow. And some of the key violence that we found is sexual violence, physical violence, and also financial violence. And this is very key and instructive to note, being that we're moving very close to the elections. And all the respondents we had raised this as an issue. One of the key concerns is that the main deterrent to women's substantive participation in mainstream politics is violence. And so where you have an increase in violence, of course, you would expect to see a reduction in women's political participation. And that is not surprising when you look at the candidates we have vying for the post. We have 14 male candidates and only 2 female candidates. So this is very instructive.
I understand how physical and financial violence sort of plays into this, but I'm wondering how sexual violence plays into this. Maybe you explain that to us. And then you also talk to us about whether you're satisfied, because you also mentioned some hotbeds in terms of violence, hotspots rather. If you're satisfied with the security arrangement in those areas that you have called hotspots.
Okay, sexual violence there's usually a culture of silence around sexual violence in our climate. And this is not surprising, being that we live in a patriarchal society. And, you know, if you look at the activities within the political parties and Nigeria as a whole, there's usually, even within the academic institution, would usually have sex in exchange for tickets, in exchange for positions, in exchange for marks. And so women's body are sexualized. And women are seen as tools where in exchange for anything you want to get, you need to give, pay the price either by giving sex and all of that. And this was really flagged off by most of our respondents, and a key issue that we need to address if we want to see women's influential participation in mainstream politics. So we had to really highlight this because once you put out an issue on the front burner, then all relevant stakeholders can really key in and look at ways of addressing the issues. In terms of the hotspots that we flagged out, which also came from the rapid assessment and the stakeholders dialogue that we conducted in the state, when we had a press briefing yesterday, we also had representative from the security sector, and they gave us assurance that they are deploying police officers who are well trained, who are gender sensitive, and in addition that about 40 women police officers are being deployed who are really very sensitive in terms of issues on violence against women. And the assistant commandant gave us the assurance that they are really focused on addressing and preventing violence against women during these elections. So we're just going to watch and see, and that's one of the things we'll be observing to see how far this has been implemented.
Thank you so much, Joy. So we hope that some of these issues we have raised are taken into consideration in terms of security arrangements for this election. Convener Women's Situation Room, Joy. So thanks for talking to us.